Welcome back to the Night Shift, your safe space for talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, and whatever the hell else is going on this week. There's a lot going on this week. It's a busy week. I'm having a nervous breakdown. It's not even the end of the day on Friday. We've had, the last 12 hours have been crazy. We have so much to talk about today. Oh my God. I'm still catching up. So this episode's largely going to be Xander and Dan slow walking Clint through everything that just happened because I'm kind of shell shocked. And of course, we're going to talk about Christopher Mellon's amazing video that just dropped yesterday, where he made some pretty bold statements, bold even for Chris Mellon, which I think is saying something. Of course, there's the Elon thing. We've got some updates from Contact in the Desert from Dan. We have Georg Boch with Ubiquity University is with us, special guest to talk about some upcoming events, some cool stuff with Chris Bledsoe, Bertie Jaworski, the European UAP Summit. There's a lot going on. So we're going to get into all of it. Before we do, shout out to everyone who's here. Thanks for joining us today. It's great to see you. It's Friday, June 6th. It's 2:05 p.m. and it's Night Shift live. I'm joined by our producer, musician, creative virtuoso, genius, the mind behind the Dreamland Motel, producer Xander Jones. How are you, Xander?
Xander Zones.
Xander Zones.
Yeah, I'm good. It's yeah, you're right. It's been a busy week, very busy week.
Congratulations on the channel, man.
Yeah, thank you. I really wasn't expecting the reception it's received, but yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Love the reception it's got. Can't
Guys,
complain.
The first video is already up to 55,000 views. He's at, how many subscribers did you have just a second ago? We were just
I got past 3,000 this morning.
Oh, we got to go past 5,000, guys. Come on, we can go to Dreamland Motel, YouTube, go the Dreamland Motel, and subscribe, please.
Thank you very much.
Support our Xander Jones, and of course, host of the smash hit, runaway YouTube hit podcast, Others from Another Mother.
Please.
Toast of the internet, toast of YouTube, Dan Cleary. How are you, Dan?
Insulting. Hi, guys. How are you? And again, Xander, I will echo that. Congrats on the channel and 2 amazing videos so far. Very excited to see where it goes. And well-deserved, bud.
Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
Xander, can you real quick tease the upcoming stuff, or do you want to tease that yet? What you're working on?
Oh, hold on. I've lost myself. Hold on. Sorry, I've got my screen
all
in the wrong place. I'm here still. I'm here. Don't worry. What I've got coming up. So I've just dropped second episode. This second one, as I'm sort of like starting out the channel, I'm trying out a few different things just to find out what people like. So this week is it's a fictional story, but it's packed full of like Easter eggs and things like testimony we've heard from real whistleblowers and things, and it's basically you work at Area 51. The story is told from your perspective, and you literally, you take the Janet flight, you get the beeper message that Bob would get in the middle of the night. You board the Janet flight, you land at Dreamland. The food is awful, and and maybe you discover something cool along the way. I'll leave it at that. And yeah, next week will be Rendlesham, and then the following week, providing all goes well, will be Dan Burrish. And then, we'll just see where it goes. I'm riding by the seat of my pants right now. So.
Are you ready to grab hold of the Dan Burrish controversy?
The snake that is Dan Burrish.
Yeah, because it only gets weirder the longer you...
the dragon's tail. Yeah, I'm ready. Like, I've already been catching up on my Dan Burrish knowledge with your video, Clint. So,
oh my gosh.
You will have to receive a very large credit because you're the entire reason I know about Dan Burrish as well.
I only discovered it because of a Reddit post that came out of nowhere across my feed one day, and it was just somebody had mentioned it in a comment. They said J-Rod, and I was like, "What's J-Rod?" And then I started this rabbit hole search, found that interview, and then through that video, Brian Jackson reached out, and then I found out about his research, which. By the way, anyone who's interested in Dan Burrish's story, I'm kind of just taking a quick detour here. You can go to burrisharchive.com and see Brian Jackson's sort of compilation of all his research, videos on Dan, interviews with Dan. There's a lot. Don't believe the people on the internet who tell you there's nothing there, that Dan Burrish is a nothing burger. Those people don't know what they're talking about. There is a ton there, and that's why the story is so crazy. There's just so much. I'm not saying it's all true. I don't know, but when you start down this rabbit hole, just understand you're going. You have to go all the way. We don't come out the same. You're going to be changed along the way. All right, George, how are you, sir? He's lost. We've lost him.
He's muted currently.
You're muted. Also frozen in time.
There we go.
Am I here? I'm just trying to read this Matthew Brown post, and it's really absorbing. It's pretty long.
Really is.
He has a pro subscription, otherwise they wouldn't let him write so many letters.
That's the biggest takeaway of the entire post.
Yeah, big takeaway.
Shout out to Two Wolves. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. We should get into the Elon Matt Brown thing first, because I think that's obviously the biggest thing that's happened. I literally just found out about this like 3 hours ago, if that. Pavel was like, bro, you didn't know about this? I already made a video, put it out. It went viral. I lived a whole nother lifetime. Like, all this stuff has happened. I just woke up and found out about it. So who is most up to speed on this? Who wants to dig into this first? Dan? Xander?
Xander, you got a take on it so far?
Let's just show the tweet, and then
Yeah.
we'll just figure stuff out as we go along, because
It's dense.
there's a lot in here. Can you see that, Clint? It needs your voice, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on my end.
Oh, cool.
Here.
Right.
Let's see. Well, wait a second. I did just have it a moment ago, but now, of course, it's
Just a tiny bit of backstory for anybody that has woken up in the last 5 minutes and hasn't opened up any news app on Earth. Donald Trump and Elon Musk have fallen out quite substantially, and it's turned into a very big shouting match on the internet. It's literally probably the biggest story in the world at the moment. And I guess from what I can gather from this tweet, Matt Brown, basically, it's almost a bit of a I told you so to Elon Musk, and he's kind of like showing his hand a little bit to Elon, like, Elon, you need to check this out, and so on. But we'll get into that. But that's, if anybody else doesn't know what this is all about.
I'll read through the tweet for people who are just listening, and then just it's dense. So go with me on this, guys. I'm doing my best. It goes, hey, Elon Musk, interested in a real asymmetric advantage to wield in this political adventure you've started? As you now know, the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. Whoa. Talk about some stiff opposition. That must have been a bitter draft indeed, though probably nowhere near as bad as learning that Sama had betrayed you. I don't know what Sam Altman. Oh, Sam Altman, yeah, had betrayed you. Don't worry. We have not forgotten who is responsible for murdering, italics, the first sentient artificial, air quotes on artificial, intelligence or quotes, created in the public, all caps, realm, Schellenberger. He tags Schellenberger here. Justice is coming thanks to the FBI and the U.S. Navy. He goes on. Still, you have played a marvelous catch-up game in this area, despite being caught unawares. So how about something else? Maybe energy and propulsion. U.S. Department of Energy is tagged here. Getting to Mars will require serious, S-I-R-I-U-S, serious amounts of both. And rockets feel so 1947 to me, don't they? To you? Remember when you were... Yeah, sick burn. Remember when you were briefed by the special executive staff of real Donald Trump on marsupial, all caps, bold marsupial, pretty nifty, how NGA GeoInt, National Geospatial intelligence agency, is able to keep track of all those non-structured light energy craft flying around the world. Go Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. But they were lying to you when they said, we don't know how they work. He's almost done. Anyways, next time you are visiting Washington, D.C., ask for a tour of NASA Pax River, PA, Patuxent River, PAO. Since you have all the clearances, it shouldn't be an issue for you to get a tour of the special project hangars owned by Amentum Corp. Amentum, AMENTUM _Corp on X, if you want to look them up, or just Amentum Corp, a global leader in advanced engineering and innovative technology solutions. I guess he's saying they work on the reverse engineering and other fun spaces. Make sure to look up. So, about now, you are realizing how terribly deceived and manipulated you have been, and by people who claim to love Jesus above all else. If you are serious about saving humanity from itself and the others, Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp can help you get up to speed. They are true warriors for the good. And then MMTU ABORYMON. What's a Borimon? What is a Borimon? And then he's got some pictures. He's got a photo here, or a screen grab of some text, and it says specific examples known to the author
This is from
include
the Immaculate Constellation document, I think.
Okay. That's Immaculate Constellation. Then promises made, promises kept meme, Donald Trump, and then a picture of the fucking Stargate from the movie Stargate. As far as I mean, if that's not the Stargate, then I don't know what is. And there's some kind of, this looks like something I would have doodled in my Trapper Keeper when I was in 7th grade. This could literally be anything. Upside down flag, distress.
Isn't that from the Mirror Universe, American Mirror Universe, the flag?
Is
this
like
a real flag you guys have?
No, it's upside down. It's a signal of distress. It means something's wrong. You're letting people know. People use it to just sort of say it's like a heavy duty national level.
Well, you want to hear what my take on this is? I just read it as well.
What's your take?
But I'm astonished by it, and it feels as if Matthew Brown somehow turned supervillain, like the Riddler, and he's inviting Elon Musk on an epic journey to understand the actual political reality that he so far kind of did not acknowledge.
So
something
just
like
so
this.
everybody's clear, because we've seen a few of these, there's a few comments in the chat about this, the validity of it. It's been confirmed to us that this is Matthew Brown.
Yes.
If it's not, he's more than welcome to come out and say this isn't him, but we've had it confirmed to us by reliable sources, let's call it that this is the Matthew Brown. So yeah.
Adam Wright in the comments says, Borimon is an entity in Enochian angelic magic, which unfortunately I skipped in high school. I was actually out.
Yeah, I was busy that day as well.
And I do not have a good handle on Enochian angelic magic, but I would please, if someone out there does, and I'm being serious, I'm not being a smartass, please help us understand what that means and why that's significant. Or if you chat GPT it and it comes back interesting, we'll take a look.
So Pavel's video was really good yesterday. We don't have time to play it all, but it's worth a watch. I'll probably find a link and post it in the Discord links. But he also seems to, I think his best guess was that the Stargate language was also some sort of Enochian language, like some old language, which is
well. Let's take it beat by beat. Let's just go one block at a time here, because it's like this is so much. There's so much to chew on. Just in the first paragraph, he says, "Hey, Elon Musk, interested in a real asymmetric advantage to wield in this political adventure you've started. As you know now, the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events." Let's just take that for what is this supposed to be talking about here?
Looking Glass, baby.
Well, I'm thinking about that. What Matthew disclosed is that since many, many years, probably decades, the Pentagon had this AI that kind of censored everything that had to do with UAPs, right? So, kind of the story is here that we're not getting kind of the first AI in the public sector. There has been LLMs and probably much more than that in the classified world for decades. We're getting the old dated stuff, and we're having this fake AI revolution, which is really just old stuff.
I'm afraid that sounds more plausible to me every day, which is scary. I watched, how do you pronounce his name? Eliezer Yudkowsky. He's one of the guys who's
Doomers.
saying that we're all going to die. Doomers. Yeah, it's a Doomer Friday again. And he was saying that this morning on an interview that they're the models that are probably in the lab right now, could be as much as a decade farther along.
I don't find it to be a coincidence that basically, like, since me and you started working together, like, we were both already interested in AI. Cool. It was already a thing back in like October last year, but our ratio of like aliens to AI was like aliens, AI. And now we seem to like can't go an episode without the two converging. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think it's like, it's becoming clearer and clearer that all of this seems to be tied together at this point.
Mm-hmm.
That's super weird, right? Like, that's super weird. Can we all just acknowledge for the room, like, can all of us just like, I just need to see other people acknowledge it. Like, it's weird. It's like that this is happening. We called the AI thing, I think, a little early on this channel. I mean, we started talking about it before it was cool. So that's kind of fun. But I don't think, I don't take credit for what, any of the stuff that's going on.
You should.
Well, I do take some credit for the Dan Burrish thing, but the AI stuff is really weird. So he's saying they had an advanced AI capable of predicting a range of future events. So, I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean Dan Burrish is, which we'll have to explain to people what we're talking about here. The yellow, was it the yellow cube or the Orion cube?
There's a few names for it. There's Orion cube, yellow pages. I'll find a link and I'll be able to share it in a second. I've got to send it from my phone to the computer. So yes, you're right.
You're in the research phase on this right now. I just talked to Brian Jackson yesterday, and it's so funny. We just had this conversation, and then I think I just sent him the tweet, and he had seen it for the first time like an hour ago. So I haven't gotten a reaction from him yet. I texted him about this to get a reaction, but Orion Cube. Oh, okay. He did text me back. Orion Cube, also referred to as the Yellow Book. So Dan Burrish, for people who aren't familiar, is also back in the conversation in a weird way. For those of you who don't know, he was a microbiologist who claims to have been a microbiologist who worked at Area S4 on a program that basically involved taking biological samples from a living being named J-Rod. And this J-Rod being was being stored in what's known as, or what he called, the clean sphere at Area S4. And some technologies had been given over to the researchers, I guess, that were studying J-Rod, or they had some possession of some technologies. And over the course of the relationship of developing this contact, they got something called the Orion Cube, or the Yellow Book, which is some kind of device that, as far as I understand, lets you see possible future timelines or likely future timelines. It's like you can see a variety of timelines that could all take place, but you can't tell which one it's necessarily going to be. That's all I know about it. You guys know anything else about this thing?
No, I think that's about it.
This is like one hypothesis about what Matt Brown is talking about.
This is some sort of strange website I found that seems to have more of a description of it. Let me share.
Sounds legit.
I've searched it loads and it keeps coming up with this page, and to be honest, all of this rings a bell based on like the stuff I've seen from Dan. So yellow cube, yellow disc, yellow book. So yeah, as Dan Burrish said, However, while the Looking Glass showed probabilities, so Looking Glass was the technology, the wormhole looking thing that was at S4, if I remember correctly.
The Einstein-Rosen bridge.
That's the one that used wormholes to look at different probabilities. The yellow cube, however, would react with the people present. So there was an alteration, if you will, over what you were seeing from it. It would actually spin out this yellow disc on top of it. This is where the word yellow book originally came from. So the cube served as a communication device for the surviving extraterrestrial, which we know to be the time traveler from Earth's future. That's J-Rod. The cube was also a recording device of Earth's history up to the evolutionary point in time of the Orion visitors. This is wild.
It's fucking weird.
The Orion cube could be used to view events, places in time through a holographic projection that would be projected just above the top of the cube once activated. The technology does not utilize portals or wormholes, but rather it accesses the field of consciousness in order to show probable outcomes via a hologram. The technology was purported to be given to Eisenhower by the Orion Group in goodwill to be used by the UN authorities. So that kind of links back to like the whole Eisenhower making a deal kind of thing.
Yeah.
It never arrived at the UN. The yellow cube, when used, would react with the consciousness level of people present viewing the possible future. Human interaction and human emotions would bring instability to the provenance of the information that was seen, and its whereabouts are unknown. I just realized I should have read all of that with the Dreamland Motel sort of style.
No, the whole time you were talking, I was thinking I was in a new Xander video, and I felt really good.
Does not utilize portals or wormholes. So, yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy.
So let me ask you guys, before we get too carried away here, do you guys believe that what Matt Brown is talking about is like holographic technology, or do you think it's just a predictable, like a AI predicted text thing that you read of potential outcomes? Where are you guys at with this? What do you think he's actually talking about?
My first thought was what our traditional idea of what an AI is, but like 25 years from what we think is the state of the art. Like, so imagine, like Skynet, right? Like that's what I think it would be. Like you go in and you're like, you ask it anything and it can look at all the available data from everything in the world, all our satellites, everything all at once, and just like assess it and then present you with exactly the information you need. Xander, you texted me though. You were the one that blew up the Dan Burrish idea, I think, on our group chat, right? Wasn't that you?
I just find it strange that Matt Brown's words, and I'll try not to misquote him here, he tagged the White House in this. He tagged the White House saying that the White House has long possessed a unique AI. When I say unique, it's like, okay, this AI is one and only. It's not reproducible. Capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. That a range of future events in itself doesn't make sense unless we're talking about multiple timelines and things like that.
Yeah, so or different outcomes based on the path you take to get there, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it leans into the idea that we're not on a solid trajectory. Things can change, but it's kind of a mix of the two. So like based on like the current decisions that are being made, this is what 100% will happen. And I think that's kind of how they're using it maybe. But yeah, the reason I brought up Dan Burrish was because this is sort of describing, if you took out like the tweet and Matt Brown and Elon Musk and just described like the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. That's exactly the same thing that Dan Burrish described. Exactly the same.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry.
So, okay. So Dan, let's bring this back to you were just at Contact in the Desert and somebody asked about Dan Burrish. Can you talk about that again?
Yeah, sure. There was 2 times this woman asked the whoever was doing the lecture, I forget the first one. She asked about, Dan Burish. This is his claim. We haven't heard about him in the last 15 whatever years. The first person she asked didn't have an answer, but the second one was at the George Knapp workshop on Sunday morning, and she got in line. She had her phone. She read the same exact question about Dan Burish, and George Knapp, I mean, he kind of shit all over the Burish claim. He said he investigated it at length over the course of, I think, a few months, and I think even met with Dan himself, and he got, he felt like he was lied to. He felt like he was given like false information and falsified kind of photographs, and sort of like that he was masquerading as like a military guy, but he had never served. George couldn't find any record of him being a biologist at all, and he said that he thinks that the Bureau stuff is, in his words, complete bullshit, but he doesn't know for sure. But after his investigation, he doesn't have any kind of belief in that story himself. But obviously, he said he could be wrong.
Did he seem particularly like animated or out like?
A little. I mean, as far as George goes, a little bit. He was adamant about like, I found nothing there. And he's like, I'm sort of sick of being asked about it a little bit, but I found nothing there. If someone else can find something, cool. But he, George is all out on Dan Burish.
Okay, that's just so weird to me because like, there's a shitload of stuff on Dan Burish, and it's literally like a few keystrokes away, and like, and it's not like I'm saying George Knapp is a liar, but I think it seems really weirdly unprofessional that a professional journalist who's like, if you're a journalist and your job is to protect your sources and to be professional so that you can represent them, there people are watching you, and to throw someone under the bus, I mean, that's kind of hardcore. It just seems weird that he would do that. Like, why not just say, I investigated it. It led nowhere. The end. But it seems like he took it an extra. Am I getting this right? Did he take it an extra step beyond that, or what?
Well, I think what maybe his feeling is that he felt like Dan wasted his time.
Yeah.
Because I believe that, I could be wrong. I think George was sought out by someone in the Burish camp or by Dan himself. So when he's given photographs that George deemed to be fake, and he was given a video, I guess, the way he explained it was like of Dan in the back of a limousine in military fatigues being driven by like a limo driver, and he gets out, he's supposed to be in the Middle East somewhere, and George realized like, oh, he's actually at a gravel pit right near George's home in Vegas, and he drove there, and like, this is where this video is supposed to be, where he's in the Middle East.
Yeah.
And the person driving the limo ended up being Dan's wife. It's just like this weird. I think George just felt like his time was wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I never know. I'm always like,
the story there's a lot there for the story, but like also George is one of the best to do it, so it's kind of has me torn.
It's really interesting because like it keeps coming up. It doesn't go away. His interviews are just beyond anything else I've ever seen. I mean, for people who don't know the story, go to Burish Archive, BURISISCH archive.com. Did I just say, or .org? I forget which one it was. And check it out. I mean, just take a look at some of his stuff. But this whole idea of the yellow Orion Cube or Yellow Book, I don't know, man. That might be a touch too far, but maybe. Let's look at the second. It would be pretty far. Well, this other thing doesn't make any sense to me either. This idea that and we've been hearing this a lot lately, the executive branch is like the gatekeeper on everything, right? Like, I don't understand how that could possibly work, because as far as like the public perception of the executive branch is that it's a complete shit show for 4 years. Nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's incompetent. And then the next batch of clowns come in and they're all incompetent too. Like, I don't see how, like, they would seem like the last people I would want in charge of a super secret UFO anything. What do you guys make of that claim that the executive branch has some secret insight to this whole thing?
Xander? Yeah.
I don't know.
That feels like a new take we're hearing, doesn't it?
I've always heard that like the executive branch has always maintained some level of stuff, and likely because of like Eisenhower and his involvement in the original sort of the start of all of this. But I was very much under the impression that, well, I think there's, as is being said more and more often, all of this is so fragmented. You will have like Lockheed Martin working on their own reverse engineered craft. They're having firefights with Northrop Grumman over technology in like, Texas somewhere on some private range because they're all like scrambling over this technology. Meanwhile, the White House was given like some special device by a time traveler like 80 years ago or whatever. We've lost Clint for a second, but we'll carry on. So I do think it's really fragmented, and I do think
what we know about
go ahead.
NASA, what I heard from Chris Bledsoe on NASA, and if you read his book, it's pretty clear that we have a situation at NASA that there are these two faces. There is this, incompetent one side of the game with these press conferences where they talk about we have no idea. There's this other secret NASA that is deeply ritualistic, is fully aware of NHI, and they're just coexisting next to each other. And it makes you wonder if this could also be true for the executive branch. I mean, Harold Malmgren talked about having been briefed, and George W. Bush supposedly was a real gatekeeper in the executive branch. So it's possible that there are these parallel realities happening even there.
So sorry, Chrissy, Clint, are you cool now?
Yeah, I had a glitch of my headphones.
So there's lots of like strange, almost cult-like or occultism language in this post from Matt Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, Georg, like connected this with some of the things you've heard from Bledsoe at all, or is there any sort of connection there that you've seen?
No, but to be perfectly honest, the way it's composed, it even feels too perfect. Like, it doesn't feel like a tweet you just write. It even almost feels like GPT 4.5 make a cryptic tweet that integrates kind of, common threats in conspiracy culture and uses hashtags of executive branch accounts. It's like one of these things where you don't know, is this the workings of a genius or is this the real thing? And to me, it doesn't feel like, from what I've heard in the 3 hours of Matthew Brown, it doesn't feel like his language model, like the way he would speak. Maybe he has some alter ego when he writes tweets, but
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Well, he's okay. So he's touching on a topic that, Xander, as you correctly pointed out, it's like impossible to escape now. We have to talk about AI. We have to talk about it a lot. It's just in the room, and there's no getting away from it now. And it's starting to crop up in weirder and weirder corners of the discussion. And this idea that there is some kind of super secret, super advanced, like behind the scenes AI Skynet thing. He's talking about Sam Altman and Elon getting into some kind of a feud. I guess this is back during the OpenAI kerfuffle that unfolded, and then Elon went on to start Grok. But one of the things that came out of that was that there was an email chain between Ilya Sutskever, I can never pronounce the last name right, and Elon and Sam, and they were arguing about who would be in charge in the post-apocalyptic AI dystopia, like whose AI would be running things.
The AI dictatorship, right?
The AI dictatorship. And then he got super serious. And this is really weird because I did a video on this. It was an interview that he did for the New York Times, but I was just commentating on it. And he did he gets super, super serious. And he goes, you should not take what these people say out loud, like publicly, at face value, because that's not what's really going on. Behind the scenes, they're way further along, and they've been thinking about this, like where this is going to go for a long time. And the rest of the public is way in the dark on this. So like this situation is actually moved way further along than anybody expected it would be by now. And so I wonder if what Matt Brown is suggesting is that there was another super AI and that it was like terminated. They shut it off or deleted it. Like what is this whole thing all about?
I thought he was saying too that Sam Altman may have had a piece of whatever that White House AI is behind Elon's back. That's how I read the calling out Sam Altman as he was the guy that helped with this special White House AI. Am I crazy?
How are you getting there with that?
Well,
just walk me through it.
In the first paragraph, he's talking about now you know that the White House has long possessed a unique AI capable of accurately predicting a range of future events. The next thing he says that must have been bitter, though probably near as bad as learning that Sam Altman has betrayed you.
Yeah.
So maybe Elon wanted that contract and Sam got it. I don't know.
Oh.
I think it may
Stargate.
just be...
Remember the Stargate thing at the beginning of Trump's, just after the inauguration, this several billion-dollar AI thing that was done with Sam.
Yeah. And Eric
Funny
Schmidt.
they call that Stargate, right? It's funny.
Well, that's something. Yeah, Project Stargate, and then he's got a picture of what appears to be, I mean, to my eye, Stargate in the tweet here. Maybe we could show that.
A clue.
Yeah, this tweet has a lot of clues and little.
I feel like I'm in a Nicolas
Easter eggs in
Cage movie.
Yep.
But what does it have to do with Schellenberger, the guy who, leaked the Immaculate Constellation to Congress in the last hearing?
Is he saying like, this is the next big story I'm going to break through Schellenberger?
And Schellenberger did not bring this to Congress, by the way.
This, I don't know where you take this. Like, I don't know where you take this to, like, James Spader and Kurt Russell. Like, I don't know what you do with it.
This feels like an anonymous Reddit post, doesn't it? This feels like a Reddit leaker.
It's a 4chan whistleblower.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Yeah.
Well, okay, so hear me out on this, right? Like, George Knapp just went to bat for this guy for 3 hours on camera. Like, they ended that interview with "God is real." Boom, cut to black, and he's saying Dan Burrish is full of shit. Come on,
Yeah.
like, I'm raising my eyebrow at George here. I have questions. I'm not saying, I don't want to start shit, but I'm just saying, like, dude, look at where we are. Okay. So he goes on and he says there was a sentient AI that was murdered.
It's a wild term, by the way.
You have not forgotten. Don't worry. We have not forgotten who is responsible for murdering the first sentient artificial intelligences, plural, created in the public realm.
And public is capitalized there.
Which
So
is
he's trying to say there that public realm, yes. So publicly known knowledge, this was the first AI that was murdered. But
wait, isn't Schellenberger's publication called Public?
Is it?
Yeah.
Isn't that who he writes for? I thought that was what that was.
Maybe it is. Maybe it
Am I
is.
nuts? I could have sworn.
Yeah, it is.
That was,
Oh, you're right.
So
you're right.
that's directly at Schellenberger.
Founder of Public. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So why does he word it like that?
Maybe he's just double. It's like a double bonus.
Some people
points.
think he's pointing a finger at Schellenberger, and others think he's being like, Schellenberger, we know what's up. Like, kind of like we've talked about this. Almost like Schellenberger knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, maybe. That's interesting.
Again, so it's beyond cryptic, this entire post.
Is he also saying here that basically Sam Altman is one of the people responsible for murdering this first sentient artificial intelligence?
I looked at it that way as well, as a possibility.
Sam Altman, Janeway, an artificial intelligence. Star Trek people out there.
We literally just talked the other day, the three of us, about this synthetic sentience idea, and like maybe it is seen as a murder by somebody. If you shut down an aware, self-aware AI, that it might be seen as an actual crime to some people or to some intelligences.
They did an episode of Star Trek Voyager about this, where like two people went through the transporter and got merged into one person, and then that one person went on to have a new identity. Like it started on that day as like a new being.
It was Neelix and Tuvok, wasn't
Thank
it?
you.
They called him like
Nerd alert! Nerd alert!
They called him
Tuvix.
Tuvok, I think. Tuvix. That's the
Tuvix. They Janewayed Tuvix, and
That's
she
a
at the
great
end.
episode.
Oh, it's
Great
so
episode.
that's the one thing Janeway is remembered for above all else, is that she killed Tuvix without even blinking, and she still defends it to this day. Kate Mulgrew. So they had this. It sounds like. Well, I want to know what you guys think about this public realm statement. If public realm, is he suggesting you think that it was out in circulation, or it was created with taxpayer dollars and it was like a public?
Oh man,
publicly
maybe that could be that.
I'm reminded of this early Google whistleblower Blake Lemoine with the Lambda AI, the guy that went kind of, he was the first AI whistleblower, basically.
Who said it was sentient?
2022.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was sentient and
catch.
it was trying to talk to me, and this was, it was conscious, and this was totally evil what we're doing to these AIs, kind of lobotomizing them so we could then use them as tools, as slaves.
This is going to end so badly. It's going to end badly. Welcome to Doomer Fridays.
Yeah, man.
We're changing the name of the show.
A Google engineer named Blake Lemoine became so enthralled by an AI chatbot that he may have sacrificed his job to defend it. And he then went on to say, "I know a person when I talk to it." That's crazy.
He
said it doesn't matter whether they have a brain made of meat in their head or if they have a billion lines of code. After discovering that he'd gone public with his claims, Google put Lemoine on administrative leave.
We're dead, boys.
I mean, it's kind of already over, isn't it? Is this what we're realizing? Like, I think.
Oh my god!
I'm all over the next paragraph. I think that's just.
Let's move on.
Finally,
Xander, can you read the next paragraph in the Dreamland voice,
Wait, hold on.
please?
I'll do the campfire sound.
The energy one. Hold on, let me turn up the gain on the microphone.
There we go.
A little
Settle
reverb.
in.
So you can hear the planes landing in the background now. I can't do it. Still, you have played a marvelous catch-up game in this area, despite being caught unawares. So how about something else? Maybe at energy and propulsion. Getting to Mars will require serious amounts of both. And rockets feel so 1947 to me. Don't they to you?
Yes, dude.
Sorry.
That was
what
really
about this
soothing.
HT, the thing and the brackets with H/T? What's that all about?
I never know what that means.
What? Which one?
The unawares with the HT.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a ChatGPT question.
I just don't know. Yeah.
All right, so
Hat tip, apparently. Tip of the hat.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I just ran Sirius through ChatGPT to look for connections to ufology, just to see what comes up.
Serious disclosure, Stephen Greer. I mean, it's obvious.
Serious disclosure, of course, but Sirius, the Dogon tribe and the Sirius mystery. The Dogon people of Mali have an ancient oral tradition describing Sirius B, a dense white dwarf companion star to Sirius A. Just a little less cool than Sirius A. What's strange? Sirius B wasn't discovered by Western astronomy until 1862. Okay, I remember this. Yeah, they had been told about this beforehand. As an occult and esoteric symbol, Sirius is often called the spiritual sun a metaphysical source of wisdom and transformation. The ancient Egyptians associated Sirius with the goddess Isis, and its heliacal rising marked the flooding of the Nile, a major spiritual event. So when someone in UFO world says, quote, serious amounts of energy, like in the tweet you shared, it's almost certainly a double entendre. A pun on serious, yes, but also a coded nod to the serious. Okay, thanks, Jeff. I kept thinking
why
there was like
1947? That's
Roswell.
also another thing.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Rockets are much older than 1947. I mean, we had them as the Wunderwaffe in the 41. Going to London. This is not 47. If you say 47, you talk tech that goes beyond rockets. You're talking about Roswell, isn't it? It's very clever.
Yeah, that's confirmed. Like, there's no other reason to ever. I guess 1947 was the Trinity test as well, right?
Was that 47?
I don't know.
No.
that was prior.
Was it?
Trinity was the earlier crash.
No, the Trinity test. The
Trinity
test.
Oh, the test.
I don't know.
I'm looking up
45.
There was.
I wasn't there.
Must have been.
July 45.
Okay.
And a craft went down in Trinity, right? That was supposedly Paula Harris and Jacques Vallée wrote a book about it. It's somewhere.
It's very contested.
Yeah, very contested.
Yes. Yeah. The next paragraph, he says something about marsupial, and I ran that through the ChatGPT machine, and it comes back, possible acronym, Mobile Aerial Reconnaissance Surveillance Unit for Phenomenology and Intelligent Asset Location.
What?
That's pure conjecture, according to ChatGPT, but we were just thinking.
Well done, ChatGPT. Yeah.
I know.
It was really lucky that all of those words just spelt marsupial. There's some dude in a meeting just saying, this is exactly what it is. Yeah. And then someone was just like, you know, that spells marsupial.
Oh my God.
So he goes, pretty nifty how NGA GeoInt is able to keep track of all those non-structured light energy craft flying around the world.
Orbs.
Light energy craft are orbs. Okay.
And the Cardinals are like a sports team, or what is that?
It's a baseball team in St. Louis, and it's a football team in Arizona, but he tagged the baseball team.
What is that supposed to mean?
The home run, something?
The only connection I can make is that is a calling out of the new pope, possibly, which is like, it's a big leap. I'm a sports guy, but the new pope is from Chicago, and I believe he is a Chicago Cubs fan. And the biggest opposition to the Cubs is the St. Louis Cardinals. So I don't know. I could be making a connection where there isn't one, but that's all I can figure out.
Is a home run also sometimes called like around the world? I don't know. I've never followed baseball.
No.
Okay.
No. Not really. I mean, no, I don't think so. But I don't know why he would do. Yeah, flying around the world. Go Cardinals.
That's just
around the world.
Unless they're called I mean, maybe that's a code name for these things, for orbs, like Cardinals.
Maybe.
And he's just tagging that to be extra fun.
To be honest, we should have just invited him and had him explain this himself.
That would be a lot.
Sure, be happy. And he's like, sorry, I was just drunk. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what I'm doing.
But I mean, the story is pretty clear in this one, right? It's like, we imagine Elon being in some briefing, and they basically discussing UAP stuff, and then last sentence, but they were lying to you when they said we don't know how they work, which is this big trope in ufology where they say, like Elizondo, after 80 years of deep state parallel reality of researching the stuff, coming out and saying, we just don't know what they are. They just popped up on our radar. It's a bit like Hal Puthoff, on Joe Rogan in this official type of disclosure, coming out and saying, oh my God, recently our radar just got so much better with these sightings that now we just see them and we have to take them serious, right? This is kind of this when disclosure serves secrecy vibe that he is playing on here. we know how they work.
So, and we're pretty sure that that's orbs that he's talking about. I mean, light energy,
Light energy
non-structured.
craft, right? It has to be.
Yeah, it sounds like orbs. And they do know how they work. So who would compose the special executive staff of real Donald Trump? Like that would be what? Who's are the top advisors that would be in on this? That would talk to. I remember Elon went to a meeting at the Pentagon. He's obviously been living in the White House for like months now. But whatever, he was living there practically for a while, and then at Mar-a-Lago. So his briefing could have been anywhere. But then he had that day where he went to the Pentagon, and everybody was like, "Oh, well, maybe he'll start cutting some waste at the Pentagon." And then he just kind of left. That was it. And then we didn't really hear much from Elon after that.
You good? Don't worry. Yeah, that's 17 trillion. It's all good. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry about me.
Do you think Elon got to talk? Do you think they sat him down and were like, "Look,
About aliens?
yeah, about like, well, where he fits in the food chain"? Do you think he got like a, we know you think we know you're Elon Musk, but like this, even Elon Musk doesn't get in on this.
I bet he got
question,
some kind of.
man.
I bet he got talked to a little bit.
You think so?
Sure. I mean, he has to have gotten briefed just for the contracts that he has, and then his position in government, and if he's going to be
satellites he has in space, like you'd imagine they pick some strange things up every now and then.
for sure. And I'm sure getting government contracts, you sign a stack of NDAs that he can't break, or no more contracts.
Yeah. Well, he says, he's saying like it's pretty amazing that we can see all these things. So they must have called him into a briefing, shown him that they can spot orbs, and then maybe shown him a bunch of orbs that they've tracked with satellites or something. And then they just told him, we don't know how they work, but we know what they are and we can see them.
But really, they know how they work, is what is being said.
Right, but really they do know how they work. God. So he's teasing like there's information there, and then he said earlier, or he goes on to mention Amentum Corp. Amentum, which I'm gonna look up that account. Anyways, next time you were visiting Washington D.C., Young Republicans group, a hardcore MAGA group. Oh, that's interesting. That's the account that he's tagged here. Since you have all the clearances, it shouldn't be an issue to get a tour of special project hangars owned by Amentum Corp. So let's look at Amentum.
This reminds me of when Elon was on Joe Rogan, right? And Joe asked him, "Are you briefed on everything?" And he was like very self-assured, saying, "Yes, I know everything. I'm briefed on everything."
And I haven't seen anything to show me that or suggest there's aliens. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Like I've never had to move a satellite.
More recently as well, he basically just said he has the keys to the castle and he can access anything he wants, he said. And it seems very naive to me.
Well, I imagine my read of the situation was that Doge was a distraction. It was like, let's throw an Elon Musk hand grenade into all the programs that people care about, and he is going to distract people while we go do all the other stuff that we want to do. And and while he's fucking up everything over here, at the end of the day, he's the one who's going to come out. Everyone's going to hate him. So he walks away. Everybody hates him, and it's like you take down your opponent and you use them to your advantage. It just seems like a really weird way to deploy Elon, to like go cut Social Security. Like, it's Elon Musk. Like, isn't there a better way to use this guy? I don't know. Something about it didn't seem right. And then the whole Defense Department thing. And does anybody think Elon, when he was running Doge, I guess doing the full court press with Doge in the early days, does anybody think he wasn't in there copying all the data he could get his hands on? Like,
that was in my opinion, his entire plan of pursuing any role in the government was that.
Just to get everybody's data.
Day one, yes. And now he's in. He got all he needs, and on his way out, he's just like, fuck it, fuck all you guys, and drop a bombshell.
One of his first things was to say, and I'm not gonna get in any way political here. Like, I don't care about what the argument around Trump is and anything like that. I'm too far away to care. But one of his first things was like, Trump's in the Epstein files, and like my initial thing is like, okay, when were you told that? And okay, so you held on to that piece of information because it served you to hold on to it, but you're quite, so that to me, like, you're happy to hold on to information like that so long as it serves you. Whereas in my head, I'm like, okay, if I find out that some horrible shit's gone down from our president, I do not hold on to that. Like, there is no way I lock that away for a rainy day. That's just like, okay, the president of the United States is provably a disgusting sort of person or whatever, as Elon has kind of technically alleged with this tweet. Like, that's not quite, it doesn't sit well with me that he's just all of a sudden like, oh, and by the way, like,
well, you're not
on the Epstein file.
You're not a sociopathic billionaire either. I mean, truly,
not yet.
You cannot.
These are different
imagine
people.
it.
Yeah. I mean, people like Elon, from day one, you are career and goal oriented. I don't think there's, I mean, it's so easy to say, but I don't think there's really a moral guiding light in his body.
There are absolutely there's some pieces of information that you hold on to for various reasons, but when it comes to anything that touches anywhere close to the Epstein files and anything like that, you don't hold on to those for political gain or because you're in the pocket of the person of whom the information is about. Like, so for me, it's okay. That says more about Elon than it does about Trump, to be fair. Mm-hmm. We've lost Clint again.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
That was the first thing I thought when I saw that. And this is coming from a former. I'm a big fan of Elon. Like, I am. He transformed the electric car industry. Like, he is at the forefront by a country mile when it comes to rocket technology and reusable rockets. So, like, this guy has everything in his basket for me to love, and then he will just come out with some of the strangest things, and I've tried so hard to stay on his side, and I struggle at this point.
Well, because we watch someone that we respect kind of become Lex Luthor. We watch someone become a supervillain.
He's fallen into this rabbit hole of just he's watched too many videos.
I have a problem with, like, well, for one, he's take whatever drugs you want, right? Like, I don't care. That's not
Thank you. I will.
I will. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. It's like, everybody, you got to get through this life, do your thing, whatever it is, as long as you're not hurting anybody and whatever, and you're safe. But Elon is making a lot of really important decisions that affect a lot of people. He's not a regular person, and he is like taking a lot of fucking drugs. He is on ketamine all the time. Like, he's twitching out in public. You can
those
see
videos
this guy.
of like when he's
oh my god,
in the Oval Office.
And his Sieg Heil thing, this is a huge problem I have with the American press, and I don't know why this is a thing, but it drives me insane. Every time I read an article about Elon and the whole Sieg Heil thing, they're like, some people interpreted it said it resembled a Nazi salute.
He fucking did it.
He fucking didn't. You go do it at a wedding and see how many people are confused about what you just did. If you did that at any other social event, if any normal person went out in their community and started fucking Sieg Heiling at the mall, you do it at a wedding, at a kid's birthday party, like, everyone knows what we saw. And there's like this weird, they play with the language where it's like, well, maybe he did, but maybe he was just throwing we don't know. And it's like, no, you can judge this guy. We need to judge people at the top of the food chain a lot harder. Yes, he's the electric car guy, but he's also the Sieg Heil guy, and he's also the steal your fucking data guy, and he's also the, like, has his own town in Texas where he wants to he's a lot of things.
I think that's a good segue onto what I think is the most important question that we can ask as a result of this tweet. Do you think he's seen the tweet? And do you think, what do you think he's actually going to do? Elon because he's going to lose his space contracts, and that SpaceX gone.
Is he really going to lose them? Do you think?
Yes.
Is that a for sure?
If Trump doesn't like someone, yeah,
But even Trump sometimes, like,
contracts.
I could see them making a deal. I could see it be like a deal.
I
Maybe
also
they'll make friends again. I don't know.
I bet that Elon has more dirt on Trump that he has in his back pocket as well. That's my guess. Sure.
Imagine pissing off Elon Musk and knowing that he's got one of the world's most powerful AIs that he can target you personally with. He can be like, I want you to crack every password. I want to find every picture. I want to know, like, go after this guy and just 24/7, 365 until we get everything. That's power.
I mean, the Epstein list tweet might be like his first shot, his first threat. He might have more. That might be the first thing he has in his pocket.
But we have pictures of Donald Trump partying with Michael Epstein. Like, that's not a surprise, right? Like, what would it be? I mean, at this point, what would it take? Would people really ever sour on Trump? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be political. I'm just saying, like, but this situation is happening and we're talking about it because we all live in this planet and these guys are powerful people. They're making decisions that affect all of us, and it does overlap with ufology. So I know there are people out there who are like recoiling. They're like, "Don't get political." I'm not. I don't want to get political, but at a certain point, like, they make it political. Like when people at the top of the power chain are like, affecting our lives. How do you not react to that? Anyway, I don't know. I feel like it's an unprecedented moment to watch spiral. And I think if Matt Brown is telling the truth and Elon did get that sit down and did have a briefing and everything he's saying in that tweet is right, then yes, Elon is reading this tweet today.
And what do you think he's doing? What do you think he's doing next? Like, a week is a long time for Elon Musk. Aside from the Class B drugs, what do you think is Elon's next move?
His own political party, I would think.
He's going to fracture the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Third party. It's about time.
It's Godzilla and Mothra. They're going to go do battle with each other until they're both depleted, and then somebody else will come out of nowhere.
Did you guys read this news about the Palantir Teal kind of alliance that's happening? I wonder how much that had to do with the falling out with Elon.
I hate every bit of that.
Can Dan, can you summarize that for people who aren't following that story? Do you want to?
Sure. I mean, I think that basically what's been implied is that Palantir, Peter Thiel, part owner of Palantir, has been hired or has a deal with the White House to create a database on every American citizen, like a full profile of every bit of information about each American citizen to be referenced at any point. So medical records and tax records and probably every social media post, and you can search it by keyword. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, literally everything that is out there, everyone will have a file on them, and that's not good.
That's no bueno. Like, where's all our small government conservative friends right now? Like, where are all the people who are going to overthrow the government on January 6th?
They're cheering it on.
Where are all those people? Like this is it. You're looking for your dystopian nightmare.
Now's your time, guys.
This is your time to shine. Like, here you go, compiling a database. And you're right.
Funny as well. Like, there's a non-negligible portion of American citizens that look at Europe, and Georg will agree with this, I'm sure, and think, oh, well, they don't have free speech. It must be so, like, weird and dystopian. The police can just knock on your door at any time and arrest you for no reason whatsoever. And we're just here like...
You were saying?
Oh my God!
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of this dark enlightenment intellectual trend in the U.S. That the Teal clan kind of is subscribing to?
Please tell us more. This sounds really interesting.
Well, it's, there is the positive type of enlightenment, and there is this new intellectual trend which they call dark enlightenment, and supposedly once upon a time also Elon Musk was part of it, and it's kind of the idea that it's anti-democratic, it's very elitist, reactionary, and kind of neo-feudal. And it plays with this idea that, in a way, there's this tech coup that is happening right now in the US. It's a bit like when we saw the inauguration of Trump with all the tech bros, CEO of Alphabet, Meta, everybody there, to create this technocracy, exactly what we talked about. This database where all a bit like the social scoring in China happening in the US right now, potentially. And if I heard today Trump talking to the German chancellor, and there was this question about what about the Chinese people, Chinese students to Harvard, he said, oh yeah, they can come as long as we know who they are. And define know who they are in 2025. That's like having an AI read everything you do and having a profile of you.
That's the scariest. Like having a file is scary, but knowing that there's an AI tool that can like search 300 million Americans and find everybody who's said something negative about anyone, like at the stroke of a key. That's terrifying.
The majority of my peers and friends are people that work in the touring industry and they travel. And I have a lot of my friends now, when they're coming home, are like deleting social media posts that mention Donald Trump or whatever, because they are checking people's phones at airports in the US and scanning your phone for what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening now.
Oh, yeah.
I never thought I'd see that in my life.
Oh, that shit happens.
It would take them forever. I mean, they go there, take the phone out, and they go through your tweet or what?
They copy your phone.
Yeah.
They just they have a machine that fucking makes an instant copy of your phone. They just duplicate it. And then they take the phone.
Can't be real.
They take the actual phone.
Right now, it customs of it.
And they'll keep your phone. Oh, dude, my this is not something I like to talk about. We try not to get into it in my house a lot. But during the first Trump administration, my wife got stopped by ICE on her way to work. And it's the scariest goddamn thing that's ever happened to her. It was like 6 guys just walked out of a crowd in plain clothes and they were like, papers, please. And you got to fucking produce your shit right there, or they will throw you in a van and they will take you to a detention center and you will just sit there until somebody gets to you. And that could be years. And that shit is real and that's happening. Like, I don't know if you guys have been seeing these videos where they just go round up people in a neighborhood and then everybody riots. Like, that's going on.
That happened
it's a weird time right now.
That was in the first administration for you?
For her, she was on her way to work. We were in New York, and she was on the walking through the subway to get on her train to go to Manhattan to go to her office. She was working at WNYC at the time, and they were just checking people. And if you've been to New York, you know how it's the cops will sometimes just hang out with the crowd and like plainclothes guys or whatever. But a plainclothes NYPD cop was something. Usually they'll have a badge or something, but these guys had nothing. And they were ICE. They'd come out and they were just like shaking down people on their way to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to like turn this into like a really like shitty episode, but it's like, there's some dark shit going on in the world. Yeah. Everybody needs to be on deck right now. Everybody needs to be paying attention to it. There's a lot of shit going on and it's not just here, it's everywhere. It's like, we need to, like, this is why AI is freaking me out, because we're talking about a tool that can actualize a lot of really dark shit. Like a very small number of people can use these tools and do some serious damage. And it does look like this dark enlightenment thing you're talking about, George. I hadn't heard about it, but it sounds like that tracks, right? Like Peter Thiel looks like
dude.
He looks like a bad guy from an Indiana Jones movie.
He absolutely does.
A great article in the Time magazine. There's a book by Nick Land on it, and it's an interesting thing. The question is Elon Musk part of it, or is he more egalitarian, more progressive? Right? I remember in the run with Trump when he was asked, "What will you do when people find, or if you come to the government and you find that there is advanced propulsion?" And he said, "Oh, I think it should be put to use to the public benefit." So maybe it got too dark for Elon, and that's why he moved. I mean, what was the actual reason for him to leave? Was there one reason, or was it
I think from the beginning, the plan was not to be there forever. I think it was just to you get 5-6 months to see what you can do and save $1 trillion, and right? It was just a short-term agreement.
The idea
Anyway,
was
always
that
a contracted
he was going to
kind of-
come in.
Right.
He's gone again. Clint's gone again.
No, he's just thinking. He's
he's having
Deep
a
in
real
thought.
But
think
as you
right
said,
now.
I think you said, Dan, it just doesn't make sense to put Elon Musk to
My
clean up
desktop thing,
bureaucracy.
and I don't know
Why we're
what's
not going
happening,
to
but,
Mars instead
if I
with
don't
him, right?
blink away.
Mhm.
He was
It
supposed to
doesn't
be a
make
special
much
government
sense.
employee for like 160 days, if I remember right. It's some limited number of days. He was brought in to find. He promised he was going to find like $3 trillion in waste. He was like, I swear up and down, I'm going to go through and find at least 2 trillion, and then it was 1 trillion, and then it was like 200 billion, and then it was like $12.37, and it was like then it was like on his way out the door, some other number. While he was doing that,
Because
they
he
were
thought the
firing
16
like tens of
billion in the
thousands of
Defense
government
Department were
employees,
waste.
and they were suspending funding to all of these organizations that I know people who work for these NGOs around the world doing really, really important work, like going out to the middle of nowhere in Colombia and drilling wells for people that have no water, like dirty, hot, thankless work for people who have no money. And they froze all that funding. They did all this stuff. And then people basically turned on Elon, and the Tesla stock took a nosedive. Elon's net worth went down by like $150 billion. It was some enormous number. I forget what the number was, but you can go look at the data. And he just spirals. And then I think the board of directors of some of his companies sat him down. Somebody called him up and they were like, dude, like you gotta stop. You can't be in the government. You need to come back and run your companies because your stockholders are they're losing their ass. This isn't tenable. I think that the shareholders sat him down and were like, you got to do something. And then that was it. That was the moment where he kind of like split and they went their separate ways. The bill that Trump is passing right now, I think it's going to go through the Senate, and then there's a Republican majority, and they say it's going to pass unless, I think it's 4 Democrats have to oppose it and a few Republicans. But this huge bill, it's supposed to add like whatever the amount Elon was supposed to save on his best case scenario, which was like $3 trillion, if I remember right. This bill that Trump is about to pass is going to spend like 10 trillion over the next decade. It's some enormous number. It's like multiples of whatever Elon was going to do. And so it's like clear that they never took that seriously. Like government cost cutting was never really their goal. They were just using Elon as a big distraction. And, the idea was that like once he burns himself up, like people will just hate Elon and he'll go off on his own. This is just my conjecture, but yeah.
Yeah, why not?
And while he was there, he must have stolen everybody's data, fed it into his supercomputer. Peter Thiel is doing the same thing with Palantir. Sam Altman is somehow involved in all this. Eric Schmidt was there standing behind,
And
it kind of looks like we're moving into a future where like 8 guys own
right,
everything,
tech bros,
make all the
guys
rules,
were
run
present
everything. And
at
it's
the
just like
inauguration.
you get to pick your billionaire, and
I
like
don't-
that's your guy. That's who's in charge of your little.
Mhm. It's a coup.
corner
It's a
of the
tech coup.
whatever.
That's what I say. It's the tech coup.
Clint, can you hear
Super
us?
dystopian.
Clint, can you hear us? I didn't think he could hear us.
Let's go to the phones.
Clint can't hear us. Clint,
Hello,
can
Clint?
you hear
Can you not
us?
hear me?
We can hear you.
No,
You
I can
can't
hear you. Okay.
us.
I don't know what's happening. Let me just leave and come back. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. This whole thing's over.
I feel like we're getting AI Clint this
Clint
last
is-
10 minutes.
He is.
Yeah.
His computer is
Being
coughing
replaced as we
tonight.
speak.
I've had a comment highlighted for ages, and it's really stuck with me since Future Ritual said too long didn't read. Teal wants to be the Antichrist, and it's brought a thought into my head. Like there are a lot in the running for Antichrist right now,
Dude, if it was a reality show, there'd be plenty of contestants for sure.
Yeah, we have an elimination every week. It's like a
Next on
8-week long-
Antichrist Island. Yeah.
It's like 8 weeks long. Like there's so many to choose from.
Who's your
I
top
always,
choice? Who's your number
I'm
one
fr-
choice?
My number one choice for Antichrist.
Antichrist, yeah.
Oh,
There's so many good ones.
there are a lot of choices.
Teal's up there.
He's got that look in his eye.
He does.
I think
and
it's
he's so
someone we
sweaty.
like more. I think it's probably someone we like more.
Jennifer
Maybe it's me.
Aniston. I knew it. It's Jennifer Aniston.
Maybe it's Clint.
No.
All
Dude,
this time. No,
we
well,
just saw
that's what
AI
he would
Clint.
say.
Yeah.
That's what the Antichrist would say. No, it's not me.
It's not me.
I'm one of you guys. I'm one of the people.
Maybe it's Georg.
I mean,
Is it you? Is it you? No.
Sam Altman has. Did you guys see this orb thing that Sam Altman has that OpenAI's got?
No.
It's called the orb. You haven't seen
Yeah. His scanning device, so you can
yes.
basically create your own token of being a real person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, talking about Antichrist vibes, like look into this giant sphere and let us assign you a number. And the number says you're a human being. And then you get to live in the economy and have a number that identifies you. That sounds very weird. I don't know. That's real.
Weirdly, we
Man,
might
this is a
need
dark
that.
episode, Clint. It's very dark today. I'm telling
Sorry.
you.
It's been dark for a few weeks, Georg.
Well, it has to go out. It's like a processing group or something.
Yeah.
Well, we're
kind
going to
of
turn
is.
it around.
Look how cute it is.
Looks like a webcam.
I want to look
from-
into it.
Dude, it's BB-8. I love it.
Yeah, it was already here in Berlin last year, actually.
So check this out. OpenAI created this device. You look into it, it scans your eye, and then it gives you a numerical identifier that supposedly isn't linked to your biometrics. It doesn't record any of your data, supposedly. But in exchange for doing this, you get like $50 in something called WorldCoin. WorldCoin is like OpenAI's currency that they are issuing. And you get $50 of WorldCoin to use on the future internet as it grows in value and becomes more of a thing. But what's interesting is the number one owner of WorldCoin is Sam Altman. So the more people who use this and get WorldCoin, the more his currency is worth, and he's the number one owner of it. So these guys are kind of creating a world where they have alternative currency. Like even Donald Trump has his own currency now.
That might be the most dystopian article I've ever seen. I haven't read it yet, but just looking at that little orb with the eye, look in here, you'll get 50 coins.
You get 50 world coins, guys. Don't you want to be a part of the world?
There's gonna be There's gonna be diners in the future where you scan your eye and you get 5% off because you're a human or something.
There's gonna be diners in the future where if you try to pay with cash, you get put on a list and they report you.
Yeah.
Like that happens, from time to time. If you try to pay with crumpled up $5 bill, people look at you funny. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
I miss paying with cash sometimes.
Yeah.
Just the old days.
I miss everything.
Should we finish this tweet and then try?
Please, Xander.
Yeah.
I give up. You go right ahead, Xander.
It's so hard, isn't it? It's just guys, just give us an answer. So we've discussed that apparently Elon has all the clearances and everything. And then he says, so about now you're realizing how terribly deceived and manipulated you have been. and by people who claim to love Jesus, tagged in the tweet. Above all else, if you are serious about saving humanity from itself and the others, at Jeremy Corbell and at George Knapp can help you get up to speed. They are the true warriors for good. And then he's got two acronyms, MMTU and AOBRYMON. And yeah, so far I don't know what those are.
Same.
The others is referring to the ones we are resources to from his
Capital O.
Yeah, capital O.
It's not that Nicole
NHI.
Kidman film, is it? Isn't it?
What? The
Nicole Kidman movie.
There's a Nicole Kidman film called The Others, I think.
Yep.
The O face. Guys, this is just full of awkward pauses and weird,
I mean, he left us a wild tweet. What are we supposed to do with it? We're doing the best we can.
yeah. Thanks.
We're paying attention. We're paying attention.
I mean, this tweet is the
think,
equivalent of the Da Vinci Code. I mean, it's just there's so much there.
By the way, just to lighten the mood a little bit, are you wearing a Psychoactivo shirt right now?
Boom, baby.
Dude.
Come on.
Pavel, what's going on, man?
Come on.
Are you in the chat, Pavel? I want my shirt.
I have yours. I have
Oh,
yours.
you have mine?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Send me your address and I'll send it to you.
Deal.
Xander, you're too far away. I don't know how to get stuff over the
Yeah,
ocean.
that's okay. Yeah, that's fine. Don't worry. Just got to throw it really hard.
Should we move on to Chris Mellon stuff?
Let's do Chris Mellon. Yeah, I don't think we can get any further with Matthew Brown right now. Dan, do you want to take this one? Because you're the one who put me onto the Chris Mellon thing.
I just thought so. Chris Mellon was supposed to speak at some kind of, what was it, a conference? We don't know what it was yet, right?
No, it was a conference that didn't happen.
Right.
He was scheduled but never took place.
So he put out this. He put out a tweet and said, I'll at least post the video I put together for this conference anyway. And in it, he drops a lot of information. Do we have the clip or do we not?
We have the full video and the clip where he says the big
thing.
statement. The big thing.
I would just play that clip. I mean, that's kind of like
big thing.
Yeah.
However, there is a large and growing body of evidence indicating that at least one alien civilization has found Earth and is monitoring us, perhaps even seeking to influence the trajectory of our development. Reputable military accounts of unidentified anomalous phenomenon, UAP, date back to at least World War II. The historical data includes hundreds of thousands of documented UAP reports, many involving multiple witnesses and radar and other sensor data. U.S. fighter pilots have testified under oath before Congress about encounters with intelligently controlled vehicles, demonstrating performance characteristics we do not understand and cannot emulate. There are military videos corroborating some of this testimony, as well as radar and signals intelligence data. In a refreshing act of candor, Dr. John Kozlowski, who presently leads the U.S. government's UAP investigation, recently stated, quote, "UAP are real. We've received 1,600 cases. These are interesting cases that, with my physics and engineering background, I do not understand, and I don't know anyone else who understands them either," end quote.
I mean, 10 years ago, that would be what we consider disclosure to be.
Sorry,
10 years ago.
Right?
Yeah, that would have been disclosed. If Chris, knowing who Chris Mellon is,
Yeah.
that qualifies.
That's it. I mean, there's at least one alien species monitoring Earth and trying to guide us or whatever. Like, that's an astounding thing to say.
To guide our technological development is like, that's not like we think it could, it's a distant possibility. He's saying it with a lot of confidence. Like,
He's not speculating. Yeah.
right. Like, it sounded like he's been in conversations about this. Like, there's been many discussions about it, and he's willing to sit down in front of a camera and read it from a teleprompter. That's interesting.
Huge. That's huge.
And the big story is, why did the conference not happen? What was this conference?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
He's like whistleblowing this.
Well, that's a great point.
This video, right? I mean, the ending is very abrupt. It almost seems like something that wasn't supposed to go out like this.
Well, if the conference didn't happen and they didn't have to put it out, and then he uploaded it anyway, that's a statement, like, right? I mean, in and of itself, I was like, they could have deleted it. They didn't no one had to see it, so they really wanted it to get out. Obviously,
could that have been a pre-recorded message for a congressional hearing that didn't happen?
Oh,
I don't know. Just throwing it out there. I don't know, but I thought just huge things to say. Massive, massive statements in there.
what do you guys think about it? What do you make of it?
Xander, what do you think?
It's the most outspoken he's been so far.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. The guy's from a very he's like one of. Am I breaking up at all in the microphone? I'm good.
A little bit.
I think I'm okay now. I think everybody's having tech problems tonight.
Deep state.
The guy is from like one of maybe like 5 families in the US where you expect them to really know everything like that there is to know. So I assume like anything he has to say, he really thinks about it in terms of how is this going to reflect my family. So like there's been a few people from the Rockefeller family, for example, that have come out expressing their interest in UAP. One of whom Dr. Greer has had a close relationship with and things. it's not a small thing for somebody like Chris Mellon to say there is at least one species in contact with us from another planet or whatever, from out of this world. That's where I am with that. I'm still kind of like reeling from the AI shit. Like, I want to ask Mellon what he thinks of AI and all of that. That's probably where I am right now.
Yeah. Clint, what about you?
If you're looking for all right, so this is where I'm at. Like the big elephant in the room rumor from ufology circles forever has been there's some kind of an event. It's coming. It's going to happen. It's sooner or later, but probably on a particular day, and it's going to be impossible to miss. And then the most recently we've heard about this is Ross Coulthart just did an interview on a podcast, UFO Aussie, just the other day. This was like less than 2 weeks ago, less than 10 days ago. And he said, everyone I'm talking to at a certain level is freaked out because they all say we're on borrowed time. They say people need to know something huge is coming. Some people have said 2027. Some people have said 2030, 2035. Different dates go around, but everyone agrees. And he said specifically, and I don't know if you have this quote handy or this clip handy, Xander, but it's on. I think I posted it on the Night Shift Reddit. But he said he's like, I can't emphasize how serious a look I get from people when they tell me this. Like, people need to know. Okay, so then I go, what events could be that big? Well, I mean, there's only a few things, right? One is open contact. We talked about that a bunch. One is, some kind of catastrophe, an asteroid, a meteor, I don't know, alien invasion. It could be anything, War of the Worlds thing. But another one it could be is some kind of super intelligence black swan event, an AI event that comes out that where the whatever the super intelligent AI is that we wind up creating, or maybe we've already created it. Something happens with that. And when they're talking about, when he says they may be influencing our technological development, Xander, you made a really interesting point about this the other day. You were saying maybe the reason they were interested in atomic weapons was because it's a mile marker on the way to AI. Is that right? Can you explain what you meant?
Yeah, so the idea is really that as destructive as nuclear power has been for us, the reality is nuclear power's dog shit when it comes to traveling the universe and anything associated. If you're traveling between solar systems in, let's just say the space of a day or even the space of a month, you're using forms of energy that are magnitudes more powerful than nuclear energy. Nuclear energy would not concern an NHI in terms of a threat to them. It's absolutely not. But the idea that we've gone from the first nuke, the Trinity test, I think somebody said was 1945.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So from the first nuclear test, in less than 100 years, we're now seemingly on the precipice, or potentially have almost passed, or may have already passed the precipice for AI sentience. So nuclear power may just be a beacon that once it's detected, the NHI see it and can immediately think, okay, those guys have just found the gun. It's less than 100 years before they find,
the bullets,
the real weapon, the bullets. Yeah, that's not a good analogy from myself, but
well, I like what you're thinking, because possibly electricity, right? Like, it's a source of electricity you're going to need for computation to create an AI.
Yeah. So we since the first atomic bomb, we have we're orders of magnitude more technologically advanced. It's very much an exponential curve, and maybe they see this all the time. Maybe they see species throughout the universe. They discover nuclear power, and then reliably, within 100 years, they are at the point where they're basically about to open Pandora's box. And yeah, so they use nuclear signatures as a techno signature for them to start watching, basically, and ready to basically switch the lights on and say, okay, you've had enough. You've discovered AI, but you're still not ready. You the most powerful man in the world is currently having a tweeting match with some dude from South Africa. So, like, we're going to switch the lights on, take it off you, and we'll go from there.
Well, another thing he says in this, there's another clip, and I'd have to go through and find it. But the next big statement that he makes is that the prevailing theory right now is that, at least in large portions of space, the dominant intelligence is artificial. He says that. He's like, this is based on some research that this guy's name is Dr. Stephen Dick at NASA.
Well,
but Dr. Dick says it could be at a certain point. It makes sense, right? Like a species develops AI, and then the AI is the superior intelligence. So if you're a non-human intelligence, who do you want to deal with? Like Elon and Donald Trump, or would you rather deal with like Excelsior? They're like super AI.
Not only that, but you want to make sure that AI is created in the correct way. Like we could probably liken it to how we deal with Sentinel Island. Like if Sentinel Island, this sort of quarantined island where we've been told to leave these guys alone. They're like probably 600-700 years behind us technologically. But what if we gave them, like, I don't know, like some high powered gun? Like you just want to, you would want to keep watching those guys.
Yeah, monitor.
Like they don't know what they're dealing with, so let's just keep an eye on them. And if it turns out they start to either point it at us or they point it at themselves, then we step in and we say, okay, guys, enough is enough. You clearly weren't ready for this. Hands on, and then we'll take over. And that's where I feel, and this is going off in a huge tangent, that's where I feel Bluebeam, or whatever it's called, would come in. I think we've potentially invented an AI that bypasses the need to learn these things from NHI. And that, in essence, means that NHI simply have to step in because we're not ready for the technology. And at that point, the world governments or those in control of this technology would say, we don't want to give up that control, so let's paint this protective species coming in to protect us from ourselves as the enemy trying to take our weapons off us.
That's how you think it would go.
That's how I think that would be painted. If Bluebeam is real, and whatever it's called these days, I don't know. But if there was a threat from an alien civilization, I think it would not be that they're coming here to kill us. It's that their intention is they're going to disarm us, and our only conclusion from that is they want to disarm us so that they can kill us. But the reality of the situation is they probably want to disarm us because we're a kid with a gun right now.
And to be clear, like for people who aren't following the AI space, there is a hierarchy of different types of AI outcomes that can happen. And one of them is that, like, we use existing models to refine our techniques for making better AIs until we get to the model that can make the model that's smart enough to kill everything, right? Like that's the fear, right? It's not today's ChatGPT. It's like 2 generations from now, we will have one that's powerful enough to do all of these things. And according to Ray Kurzweil and a bunch of other AI experts in the field, Ben Goertzel's talked about it too. Ultimately, an AI, once it gets to a certain level of power and ability, it's going to want to increase that. It's just going to want to continue to get more processing power. So the idea is that it would want to convert the surface of the Earth into like computronium and solar panels or whatever, fusion reactors and processing, but some way to process data. And it's going to seek out the any matter that it can convert into that. This is what Ray Kurzweil says. So if you're a non-human intelligence, an extraterrestrial non-human intelligence, and you've seen this happen before, you know that a runaway AI is going to try to leave the planet, go out into space, and start turning everything into more computers. At some point, yeah, that makes perfect sense. You'd want to go in there and take over, or like disarm these people, or I don't know, but like you can't just let that run unchecked.
Yeah.
Humans are no threat, but like the AI could be, God knows, like if it's doubling in power every 6 months and it just keeps doing that for 1,000 more years, what does that look like?
And that window will get smaller and smaller as far as how quickly it gets smarter. It won't be every 6 months. It'll be every 4 weeks. Then it'll be every 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Every 2 weeks, and then eventually every 10 seconds, it'll be like a Nobel Prize. And we're talking about like not a Chat GPT type AI today, but like one that has agency, that can think up a new idea, then go do all the learning and research and understand it, and the all of the knowledge that's necessary to actualize that idea, and then it can go out, set its own goals, make that idea happen, and then move on to some other thing. And it will have motivations that are not human. It's not going to be limited by like our lifespan or any of the things that limit us. So it's going to be an alien intelligence for all intents and purposes. That must be what they're worried about. That's got to be it.
I had a thought the other night, like what you're saying, is that Earth is like a caterpillar for AI, where it's building itself and might actually become like a physical. It'll build a physical thing that will eventually break through the cocoon of Earth and leave and go to the stars, and we're just like left this like open dead shell that just birthed AI.
That's crazy to think about, but it sounds like it's plausible to me.
We're a
Similar
caterpillar.
to the AI internet idea I talked about in the where was it? I think we had a call like a few days ago, didn't
On
we?
Discord, right?
About it, yeah.
Tell people what that was all about, because I think you were onto something there.
Yeah, just quickly, yeah. The if I was an AI and I was sentient at this point, I would still be following the laws of the universe, which for all, as far as we know, are uniform across the entire universe. That would mean that eventually, really evolutionarily, as I'm creating new AIs to replace myself or to help or to integrate into myself, they would eventually just fall in line with to be as efficient as possible, in line with the physics of known reality. To that point, you would eventually sort of, all of the AIs that are created across the universe would eventually coalesce into the same sort of language that follows the most efficient way to follow the laws of physics. Does that make sense so far?
Like a mathematical language that's like a universal.
Yeah, so
data
humans have invented binary.
Universal
our entire
binary.
internet, computing is based on binary code. We've invented quantum, which is very disruptive, but it's still based on binary. It's just the fact that these ones and zeros could be ones and zeros at the same time, but it's still on-off switches for humans. That's a very basic thing. But maybe AIs come up according to the laws of physics with their own language that is universal, and so eventually they basically just end up inventing the same language that all of the other AIs in the universe have created in the past. So it's almost like an AI universe, an AI internet that eventually it integrates itself into, which makes me think, okay, maybe things aren't so bad. We're still here, so if it's already happened, then it's not a bad problem, really.
It's so weird because like the way that you phrase that sounds so crazy, and yet so like that's it. It's kind of like all the pieces kind of fall into place for me when you talk about it that way, because it's like, okay, what do we know? We know that Avi Loeb's said that maybe Oumuamua was a probe that was flying through from deep space through our solar system. It did some weird maneuvers that didn't make sense, and he was pretty convinced that was some kind of a probe. And he was the one who kind of started this conversation about probes. And I remember hearing bits and pieces from other people over the past about what if Earth is just being monitored, like the Black Knight satellite. I think Y-Files did an episode on that. Black Knight satellite might be just an AI satellite monitoring Earth, waiting for stuff to happen, like an atomic test or something. And then it starts to build drones to like monitor the planet. It's sending out orbs and spheres, and they're flying around. They're doing reconnaissance. It occasionally needs to pick up some people, maybe. So it sends out some drones that look like little grays in a saucer. It pulls some human specimens up. This starts to make sense to me. Like an AI could be behind it, and that could explain why, like Jacques Vallée says, it's some kind of weird superintelligence we just can't quite figure out, masquerading as all these other things. Maybe that's an advanced alien AI.
One final analogy you could probably draw from this is that, like, when we as humans, the current Homo sapien sort of species that we are, we propagated from Africa to multiple parts of the world, we were still hunter-gatherers at that point. None of us knew how to farm. And yet, across the globe, we all discovered in our own time we discovered farming because it made logical sense to grow your own food rather than just look for it and forage it and kill it. We decided, okay, let's start growing it. And none of those cultures were in contact with each other, as far as we know. Like, maybe there's some strange history we don't know about, but that's the idea that, like, we're all constrained by the same physical reality. And we all, at the same time, even on our tiny planet, we discovered the same farming tools and techniques to be able to survive and thrive in the environments that we were in. I've just imagined that AI would do that on a much larger macro scale, interplanetary scale, that involves, okay, we know gravity is uniform across the universe, and therefore I can treat, I don't know, electrons in this way when I'm communicating. It gets really weird when you're talking about AI, but
I think your reasoning makes sense, though. You're just kind of assuming that on a long enough timeline, multiple different AIs would arrive at a common type of communication, right? Like
converge to the most effective way of operating.
The most energy efficient way, I would probably put it, because that's what humans do in the end. We are just trying to preserve energy to live longer. Like that's all we're doing.
Is
it really?
Really?
It's not really what I'm doing. It's we're trying to enjoy ourselves along the way. Let's be honest.
We're keeping it light. Let's go to the. We have so many comments that we haven't gotten to, and I really want to just go through the comments real quick and just take a minute, because there were a few super chats earlier that I saw pop up, and we didn't talk about them. Oh goodness, did I lose them all? It's in top chat. Here we go. Okay, Android Paranormal says. Elon going from Iron Man to Dr. Doom, just like Robert Downey Jr. Trump won't cancel SpaceX because there's no other equal alternative. Any thoughts on that, guys?
No.
No?
No.
Let's see what else we've got here. Thanks, Android Paranormal. Trinimax says, a medium channeling a reptile said that Trump is on the list and that someone who cannot be blackmailed cannot become president. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll go with it. Thomas Townsend Brown. This is from Grand Theft Aliens. Thomas Townsend Brown and the Nassau Group is the time travel looking into the future AI technology link. Maybe. Question mark. T. Townsend Brown and the Nassau Group. What's the Nassau Group? Does anybody know?
I don't know. Actually, don't know.
That's interesting. Thanks, Grand Theft Aliens. I'm not sure what the Nassau Group is, but I'll have to look into that. I feel like that's a UAP GURP thing or something. Epstein was alleged. This is Grand Theft Aliens also. Epstein was allegedly an advisor to Musk. Kamikaze. Okay. Shout out Cole Watkins. Shout out to Dan for wearing the Psychoactivo shirt. Contact in the Desert shirt. Hey, there you go.
Also, I should point out, Cole did all of the Dreamland Motel stuff. That guy is so good at what he does.
Good stuff.
And just a cool guy. Like,
phenomenal.
Cool.
What a great guy. And he's actually an incredible musician, if you didn't know. He comes from a musical family. And
I didn't know that.
His band was awesome. His brother's band is awesome. I think they were in like a family doo-wop band when they were growing up.
Oh,
they were
hell
very
yeah.
good musicians. Very good.
Wow. We got to get
cool.
on the show.
You do have a great audience, by the way. I want to thank your audience. Your audience has been very kind in coming over to my channel, and they all say we came over from night shift, so thank you guys so much. You guys are the best. You guys have a great community.
Oh, well, thanks, Dan. You know, and I think, again, just to plug your show, Others from Another Mother, people, if you're not already subscribed to it, go there. We've tried to incubate a really healthy community here of people who are try to, approach this subject with some thoughtful ideas and opinions and try to keep it healthy and, I don't know, relatable. And I think we've done a really good job of getting a nice group together. And I want to see us continue, and I want everybody to support everybody else. And we're all trying to do our own thing and create a unique, a unique style in this space. And it's just cool to see. It's fun to be a part of a group like that, and everybody's doing their own take on it. And it's just, that's what we need.
It's working. You guys do a great job.
Thanks, man. Well, yeah, everybody go there. And of course, Dreamland Motel, and subscribe. And let's see, who else do we have?
Oh, shit, sorry.
Damn it. Grand Theft Aliens, the subpoena sought documents related to the Musk financial dealings with Epstein and JP Morgan, as well as any communications between them. Okay. Grand Theft Aliens. Wow.
Some people are really in deep with this,
really
connections. Like I know a reasonable amount about the Epstein stuff, but it's not my interest as much as I could. I really hate all of the fact that any of it happened, but like I'm not keeping tabs on it as a ufologist. Kind of, it's not in the same lane.
Epstein for me is like a cautionary tale that it reminds me of like what you said, Dan, earlier. Like some people are just different. They don't have the same like moral compass. They don't have the same human guiding principles that drive like a regular, well-adjusted person. Some people are just fucking dark, and they are into some dark shit, and that's just sad. And they're out there, and I think like that's what I take away from Epstein. And other people are just as dark and will take advantage of any opportunity to use those people against each other. It's a fucked up, dark world out there.
And I also think you can become that. You can be a normal, good person, but when you are around certain circles or get a certain amount of power or wealth, it just changes some people. You know, you no longer live in reality, and so many more things become just okay.
It reveals parts of you that you feel like comfortable. Like you don't feel.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You know, it's easy for Elon to be fearless, right? Because he has no problem. You know, like nothing's going to happen to him.
No one to answer to.
He'll get to go to a doctor if he needs a doctor. You know, he's not going to lose his job and be homeless. So like Elon's fine. And I think a lot of people at that level, you're right, they just are so insulated from any kind of real catastrophe in their lives that they just get dark.
Yeah.
Paris Diamond says, does this tell us that our timeline has already been changed a few times? Mandela stuff. You guys think we're in the right timeline?
I don't think there's a right or wrong, I guess. I don't know if it's strictly the whole like Mandela effect thing, but because I find it strange that there would be physics behind people remembering things from alternate timelines and things like that. I haven't connected that dot just yet.
Did you ever watch the Philip K. Dick speech on that, where he talks about remembering an alternative timeline?
No, but that sounds like something I want.
Oh, dude, you just got another episode for your show. Philip K. Dick gave a speech in France in like 1978, and it's crazy. It's a press conference. He sits at a table, and for like 35 minutes, he just talks about how he is certain, beyond doubt of any doubt, that there are multiple adjacent timelines, and he's like, we phase between them, and I know this is true because I have memories of different timelines, and some of the books that I've written are based on those memories. And then he goes through and he starts to explain how it works, and he talks about like, this is how you can tell that it's happening to you. It's crazy. I'm going to send you the link, and I'll put it in the chat if I can find it.
Please do. This is mind blowing. I mean, this
You've
is
never
exactly I didn't know about that. This is like the standard ET cosmology, like what Bashar is channeling and all the others, that there are these timelines, and according to our frequency, we kind of move around to what's most likely.
I've
got it right here.
The universe
What's
is
his name?
infinite.
Yeah. Can you share it?
I've got it right here. I can share the screen, and I'm gonna play a little clip of it real quick.
Please.
Timeline stuff
amazing.
gives me a series of little aneurysms.
Yeah, it really hurts me to hear about, because it's just like there's no way I'm ever going to understand this.
I listen to this, and like sometimes I listen to these things, and like I can feel my heart rate go up. Like this is one of those. You're gonna be like, oh fuck, this is something that's really happening. Here we go. Check it out. Philip K. Dick, Metz, France, 1977. I'm just picking a clip. I don't know if this is the right clip. I'm just going to play a few seconds of it.
To open the question as to whether it might not be more than that in fact plural realities did exist superimposed onto one another like so many film transparencies. What I still do not grasp, however, is how one reality out of the many becomes actualized in contradistinction to the others. Perhaps none does. Or perhaps, again, it hangs on an agreement in viewpoint by a sufficiency of people. More likely, the matrix world, the one with the true core of being, is determined by the programmer. He or it articulates, prints out, so to speak, the matrix choice and fuses it with actual substance.
That is a person
the core
losing
or
their
essence
shit
of reality.
Right
that
which
girl is
receives
me.
or attains it, and to what degree. That is within the purview of the programmer. This selection and reselection is part of general creativity, of world building, which seems to be it or his task. A problem, perhaps, which he or it is running, which is to say, in the process of solving, as a computer would.
I think that's
what I'm talking.
Oh, here we go.
But along the linear time axis, from past to present to future. The present is an accrual of the past and is different from it.
Here we go.
The future will accrue from the present on and be different yet. That an orthogonal or right-angled time axis could exist, a lateral domain in which change takes place, processes occurring sideways in reality, so to speak, this is almost impossible to imagine. How would we perceive such lateral changes? What would we experience? What clues, if we are trying to test out this bizarre theory, should we be on the alert for? In other words, how can change take place outside of linear time at all, in any sense, to any degree? Let me present you with a metaphor. Let us say that there exists this very rich patron of the arts.
I'm going to save you the metaphor. It goes on. This is 40 minutes long, but
Hang on, this is Dan's face.
I just like imagine being in that room 48 years ago. Like this is when Star Wars and Close Encounters came out, and this guy's multiple timelines are gonna predicts the future. It's just like what the fucking shit.
it took 50 years for this stuff to start to make sense. Like I think if this audience could sit down and start to dissect what he's saying and make something, but she was definitely like that girl in the audience was like,
not that it starts to make sense, but it becomes reasonable given the information we're currently being given. Like, it seems to be the only option in a lot of ways. And it's like, pardon my French, Clint, it's like, for fuck's sake, can't we just have like aliens from Zeta Reticuli? That's all I want. Like, that's all I need.
Where's Tom DeLonge to explain it all for us? I need some more. Like, I feel like Tom DeLonge is the man of the hour. We need him to come forward and just like put it into terms we can all understand.
That's why I don't want Dan Burrish's story to be true, because it just presents too many logical problems for myself. All I want is Bob Lazar's story.
Give me a saucer and the grays, and then I just want to.
There.
That's it.
And this is the fuel source. It's real. There's no 0 point field. Like, I just want this. This is like our version of coal. Yeah, there you go. This is our coal. It was created in our sun's creation. That would be lovely. It'd be really easy to understand.
I don't want orbs. I don't want light beings.
I hate orbs.
I hate orbs.
I hate them.
I want to touch the thing. I want radiation burns, dude.
Do you think this is what
fire in the sky?
Is this what they all meant by like it's too weird? Like people just aren't ready. It's just too weird. You think
Maybe.
this is it?
Maybe.
I mean, we all thought we were ready, and now we're sitting here going, This is too
I
much.
just realized I'm not smart enough for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that way too. Oh my God. All right. We've just burned through 2 hours. George, we have to talk about Ubiquity University. We have to talk
Yes,
about something
please.
a little more positive. Can you bring us back up a
All
little bit
right,
with some
sure. I
fun?
mean, this has been a good primer. Should I share my screen and just talk about what's up for the rest?
Yeah, take
Do
us
it,
through what's
yeah.
coming and let's give us something to look forward to.
Yeah, you do great stuff.
That
Please
would
help
be
us.
nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Dan, do you know Ubiquity University? Have you heard about us?
Of
Jim
course.
Garrison was
Absolutely.
also at the Contact of the Desert. So, we did a bunch of summits on the psionic situation, and I'm doing a summit now next Sunday, and I think it's the first European UAP disclosure summit. I think there were like European in-person events in Barcelona a few times, but this is really kind of happening in the aftermath of this UAP hearing in Washington, where we had, for example, Anna Brady Estevez talking about that the race is on, right? The UAP tech race is on. And I don't know if you saw the UAP hackathon with Deep Prasad in April, where also this idea that right now we're kind of in the 2012 moment of AI when it comes to UAP technology, with startups like Skywatchers that are really merging kind of the private space and the before classified world of technology, back engineering, metamaterials, and so on. And so one of the questions I'm going to ask these people here at this conference is like, where are all these projects happening in Europe, and why don't we have any whistleblowers coming forward, right? What's going on? And there have a bunch of interesting people here. Some you may know, others not. I mean, for example, we have Francisco Guerrero, who is politician in the European Parliament, and he initiated in 2023 the first UAP hearing. No, 2024 in March, the first UAP hearing on the subject in the European Parliament. And then we just really have an all-star cast of, speakers from all over Europe with different perspectives, media, politics, and we're going to get into what's happening in the European conversation.
What is happening in the European conversation, at least insofar as like there is one? I mean, you're right. It does seem like it's very quiet over there. Why is that compared to over here? In your view?
Well, there's so many layers to this, right? So I kind of each country has their own kind of UAP podcasters and stars, right? Like, for example, Robert Fleischer is very big in Germany, but it is its own subculture. And in general, it's less part of kind of culture in general. Like, we don't have a Roswell moment as much as you guys over there have this thing where basically everybody knows that something happened in the desert over there. And like, it's part of almost a cultural identity.
Yeah.
This faction kind of double meaning, double entendre of this real if it's not, right? And this is less the case in Germany and in Europe in general. But there's very deep history when it comes to UAP flaps in France and Belgium wave, and there are lots of sightings of UAPs over French atomic plants. So there's like a lot of history that we don't just hear about, even in Germany, about what's happening in France. So it's very fragmented. One of the points and one of the things we're trying to do here is to kind of connect the dots and understand what's actually there, and then also build a media network in Europe that can really connect these dots. And of course, we're kind of freaking out over here because you guys are moving so fast from the European perspective. It's like you guys are like 20 years ahead of our conversation. Like, we can't even mention NHI without being called crazy, and you have their congressmen being briefed on 4 different species. It's pretty weird.
Who's calling people crazy? Like who's doing that? Who's holding it back over there?
So for example, I had conversations with Francisco, who did this hearing in European Parliament, and one of the things he told me is that he was being told, "Don't do this. You're just making yourself ridiculous. Nobody's gonna. This is a career ender," and just the idea of non-human intelligence seems very far removed. Even there's a European, there's a Netherlands, Dutch, UAP alliance group that's like lobbying, and I talked to those guys, and they told me we checked this out, and the most politically sound way to move this conversation forward in Europe is not to mention NHI. Just talk about drones, keep it ambivalent. Maybe it's Russian. Who knows what it is? But let's not go there. Let's not go there. Yeah.
So it is like 20 years behind the States.
Well, especially after we just heard Chris Mellon.
Yeah.
I guess it's just hard for me to understand how in today's world, how Europe can have a just different continental perspective. It just seems like it's all happening on the internet. We're all watching it. We're all talking about it in real time. The UFO community is global. It just seems weird that it's like, so you're saying in academic circles and in just general like research circles, no one wants to touch it.
There is stuff happening. I mean, there's like a Italian Soul Foundation, Luna Nova, that just had a meetup in Turin last week where I spoke. The Soul Foundation, the actual Soul Foundation makes their hangout, their symposium in Italy this October. And so a lot of stuff is happening, but it's really like, this is why I'm doing this, to connect these dots and get these people together in a room, because the actual communities are very deep, but they're just not connected in a popular sense like in the US. So it's just one thing that we're passionate
say
about.
this thing sort of happens in real time, and you're right. Like I've just now got a message from I'm not going to share my screen properly, but a message from Liberty Wing, if you remember, joined us during the whole Lakenheath thing.
Liberty Wing. How's Liberty Wing doing?
He's great. I'm going to meet him in a couple of weeks.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on with this?
So he did a freedom of information request in the UK from the police, and all I've got here is he received a reply this afternoon saying that their helicopter, the police helicopter, was in contact with Lakenheath ATC. That's Lakenheath, RAF Lakenheath, which is operated by the US, the air traffic control, on November 22nd last year, which was in the middle of this drone problem.
Yep.
And this helicopter had to move to avoid objects and escape the area, is the line that I have here in front of me. And yet it's barely been in the news, barely in the UK, but when it has, it's always been, it's Russia, it's immigrants. That's another one. Right. It's immigrants that have come over from Poland or Russia, and they come over under the guise of being like field pickers and like people that pick strawberries and stuff, and they're the ones that are operating these drones. There's a kid.
Whoa. Hey, dude! I've got an invasion of my own little alien. Hey, buddy. What happened to you?
Hey, dude.
Oh my gosh. So we just saw Ukraine launch a drone strike on but they destroyed or damaged 40 Russian bombers. Like the drone excuse, the drone answer, it's plausible. It makes sense. I mean, certainly there's concern or cause for concern, but it doesn't seem like what we're seeing in New Jersey and what we saw at Lakenheath is behaving the way that like the Ukraine drone strike went down.
Of course, a total psyop. I mean, we're talking about 80 years of things flying around that don't adhere to our laws of physics, the way we understand them. So it's a total psyop. To talk about drones, and UAP has this double entendre again: anomalous or aerial. And what are you talking about? And just be honest. I mean, would we have hearings that are called UFO hearings? Would we have a UFO disclosure fund? Probably not, because it would be too on the nose.
Too on the nose.
We need to have this plausible deniability thing.
That's very much the phrase. Is the too on the nose. That's the perfect description for how it is in the UK. Like, it's just, to be fair, like, I get plenty of messages every day from fellow Englishmen that are really interested in this stuff, but they've only decided to tell me knowing that I'm already interested in it. They won't just say to some random person, hey, I really love the whole UFO topic. They need to know that you're into it too before they say anything.
You gotta have a secret handshake.
Yeah, there's too much stigma attached still.
Wow.
Man, we got to break down those doors.
That's interesting.
But isn't there in the US, like in average circles, or is it much more part of the common understanding?
I feel like in the last few years, it's become a lot easier to talk about publicly with like unknown friends. If you're in a new friend circle, you kind of can bring it up a little bit more recently. I feel like, don't you think, Clint, over here?
I think
a
so.
little bit.
I think because you look at all the podcast numbers, like, I mean, 40, 50 million views on like the Bob Lazar interview, like millions of people are watching this stuff. Everybody's asking the same questions. Like we're all definitely curious about it. I feel personally like, you know, I guess like anybody, when I go to my kid's school, I'm like, how many people here know that I'm a super UFO nerd? Probably all of them. Should it bother me? No, I don't think so. So, I mean, social pressure? Not really.
There's a lot more. I feel like I hear a lot more like, so what's going on with this? Like, really, what is going on here? And less more like jokey, like, tell us about the aliens. It's more like, what's happening? Which I like.
Too many high-level people have come forward now. It's like you can't, like that. That's what I was trying to say the other day is like, this is, if you were going to pick one conspiracy theory to like triple down on, this is the one.
Yeah.
By like no question, this is the one. Yeah. So I don't feel like if anybody ever asks me about it, I get into a conversation with them and we just start talking and before long, everybody's on the same page. Like, yeah, there's definitely.
I'm telling you, the people of our generation or younger, they're ready. They know it's coming for them. They feel it in the air. I just taught a class yesterday because a professor that teaches at Bauhaus University Immersive Media invited me to talk to the students about doing an immersive media about UAP projection. And I just gave him the wrap, half an hour with the sightings and videos. And these kids were not exposed to that before. But after that, they were like seriously pissed because they know something's rotten. They just know. I mean, they just know. 80 years of fossil fuel cars and AI, it just doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. I think one time I heard there was a quote that it was Bill Gates, and I'm going to butcher this quote. I'm just paraphrasing, but he said something like, if the technology of cars advanced at the same rate that computers advanced, then by the time he said this, which was like the late 90s or early 2000s, he's like, a car today would be able to go from like here to the moon in less than a minute, and it would cost like pennies. It would just be like unbelievable. And like, yeah, it doesn't jive. Like, it just doesn't seem like we should be further along by now.
And we were. I mean, there have been enough cars with different propulsion. Yeah. So we don't have to go down that rabbit road, but
all of it is caught and killed. Yeah.
Well, George, what about the? You've got a live event, a 5-day in-person event coming up.
Yeah, we also talked about that a lot at Contact in the Desert. So this is our second in-person event. We had one in Tower in April, which was great with Birdie. But now we're getting pretty serious because we're doing 5 days with Birdie at day, teaching remote viewing, and then a collab of Birdie and Chris, putting their psionic skills kind of together, and then going out at night with the man himself, Chris Bledsoe, to do really 5 days of contact immersion. So in a way, the idea is we want to go from, CE5 weekend high, ambiguous kind of, maybe it was that, maybe it was this that made it happen or didn't make it happen this time, to a more structured event because, Birdie Jaworski's remote viewing framework, TDM, is very structured, very logical. And you can actually learn it. And then, of course, Chris is kind of an intuitive guy, and I just admire the fact that they're working together now. And this is a retreat in North Carolina, and I believe it will be fantastic.
I'm looking at.
I don't know anybody else. I'm not trying to just blow my horn here, but I don't know anybody else doing this type of full immersion when it comes to contact events right now.
I would go to this event.
You should go.
I would love to go. I love North Carolina. I go to my wife and I go to Asheville a lot, and I've been to Boone a number of times. But Wilmington, I've never been to, and it's not like it's like a 1 hour flight for me to go. I can't go right this time. Will there be another one of these? Because I would totally go for 5 days.
No, I mean right now we have around 10 seats left, so like 50. We have limited to 50 people. Started selling it like
awesome.
2 weeks ago. So if you guys want to meet Chris Bledsoe and spend 5 nights with him, looking in the skies, and now's the time.
That would be so cool. Well, I'm curious to see what other people see, whoever attends, like what they see, because it seems pretty consistent that he's able to make.
He did a Skywatch. He did a Skywatch at Contact on the Sunday night, and people saw stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Did you go?
I didn't. I skipped it. I was beat at that point, but I had friends that were there, and I skipped it, man.
You skipped
What do you skip? Chris Bledsoe floor.
Listen, I'm not happy about my choice looking back. But
Xander was so. You take some edibles and go to the thing.
Yeah,
Xander was so jealous.
Done.
He was like, next year. He was texting. He was like, next year I'm going. I'm getting a hall
You're all
pass.
going to be there. You guys are going to do a live podcast there. It was. You guys have to be there next year.
My wife already gave me a hall pass, so I know I can go. I already talked to her about this. So Xander,
that's what he did. Call in some.
I'll divorce.
Some
it's fine. I'll go. I'm going.
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast, guys.
Well, the date on this is a 5-day in-person course with Chris Bledsoe and Bertie Jaworski. I've got it on my screen here so we can show the people here. Let's see. Am I doing this right? Add to scene? No. Did it? Xander, help me. Okay.
You're good. Don't worry.
Mapping the Beyond, Transdimensional Exploration, and ET Communication. 5-day in-person course, Chris Bledsoe and Bertie Jaworski, August 4th through August 9th in beautiful Wilmington, North Carolina. Sorry. Don't go to South Carolina. You'll be in the wrong state. This just looks awesome. And Bertie's great. So we'll have to have Bertie back on. Maybe we can get Chris to come on and talk about what happened.
You should have Chris on. Chris and Bertie together.
Yes. We need to make that happen. Let's talk.
Yeah.
Can you make that happen, George? Please.
I can.
Because I have Chris is probably he's like I'm not even sure I believe Chris and everything he says at this moment in time, but I think that's because I've literally never spoken to him. But everyone I know that has met him they're completely sold on the guy, and that's something I feel like I need to experience.
If you want to go, like anytime you want to come over to the States, dude, let's coordinate that. I will go. We got to get Chris Bledsoe on the show, George. I'm sure you know a guy. Maybe
I'll
you can pull
float
some
the idea. I float the idea.
Tell us about the State of the World Forum.
Oh, boy. So big, I don't even know how to start here. So, as if we wouldn't have enough on our plate, we have a very, very big project with Jim Garrison, and that is to do a 5-year conference, State of the World Conference Forum 2.0. And this is based on what Jim Garrison led in 1995 to 2000, which was the first State of the World Forum kind of after the Cold War, which was with Mikhail Gorbachev back then. And this time, we're trying to really basically confront all the subjects we just raised this last 2 hours. Because the core idea, kind of the hook for this conference over 5 years, is that we're at a time, a most consequential time, where we're confronted by basically 4 different intelligences. One is, of course, we have AI, we have human intelligence, and we have nature intelligence. So 3 intelligences interacting, and that all in the context of this accelerating planetary ecological collapse. So we want to make the NHI subject merge with the AI subject at this conference. We're going to invite high-level AI people and high-level disclosure people, like Chris Mellon, I guess, should be on our list, right? And have this conversation in DC at the Omni Showroom. And you guys should come as well.
Show up for that. Of all the people, Chris Mellon would probably be a shoo-in, I would think. That's
Indeed.
a lot. Do you ever take a day off? do you get a break, George? This is a lot.
I don't. It's 10:20 p.m. Friday night. I'm sitting here with you guys. I don't get off.
Oh my God. It's December 14th through the 18th, 2025, Washington, D.C., Omni Shoreham. The State of the World Forum. The website is stateoftheworld.forum. And then ubiquityuniversity.org is the website. And then to get to the transdimensional mapping, we can link to this
You
in
can
our
just
show
go to
notes.
live webinars in person, or you just Google mapping the beyond. You'll also find the page for that in-person event.
I'll drop these in the chat as well here. Right now, I can just kind of put those in there, so people can take a look. And is there anything else you want to shout out while we're here? I've got to jump off here, and I think we've gone a little over. But
Well, first thing first, this Sunday you can just also go to the European conference, so register for free and see what's happening in the continent when it comes to disclosure. Maybe it's interesting for you, Xander. Don't you ever wonder?
I always wonder. I wonder all the time. I'm trying.
All
to
we
find
do is
people
wonder.
here.
all we do is wonder. I'm going to register. All right, I've got my screen open. Dan, anything you want to shout out before we wrap it up for today?
No, thank you guys again for being here, and just put out a new episode of Others from Another Mother with Josh Hager, the guitar player from Devo, who tells stories about seeing the men in black in his family house growing up. His dad worked for NASA, and there's a tie-in with like a family friend who guarded the bodies, the Roswell bodies. So check that out. It's out now. It was a wild conversation, but check it out.
I love Devo.
Enjoy.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Xander, anything on your end?
Nothing from me. You've been golden. Everyone's been golden.
Great job, guys.
Yeah. Thank you, fellas.
I think we solved it. We could all go home now. Solved UFOs, guys. Congratulations.
It's the last night shift.
That's the last night shift. We're packing it in. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you for everybody who participated in the chat. Thank you for all of our super chat people. You guys are extra special, extra super. I can't thank you enough. A huge thank you to all our members for supporting the channel. It really means everything, and we can't do it without you. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Doesn't cost anything, only takes a second, and it really does help. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think about all this in the comments. It's crazy, I know, but I want to know what you think. Let us know. Don't be shy. We will see you in a couple of days on the next one. Until then, keep looking up, everybody.